All right, so we are live with Emily Cossey. So, Emily, I don't know if you just want to let everybody know a little bit about yourself, who you are, where you're from, that sort of thing.
Hi everyone, I'm Emily, I'm from London. I am currently in my master's year of chemical engineering. So yeah, that's a little bit about my background.
Yeah, we actually, where did we meet? We met at a castle, yeah, in Scotland, yeah.
Yeah, we met in Scotland because I was working for Diageo last year in the whiskey distilleries, and then my mum came up, and then we just started talking, taking photos. I think
Yeah,
that's how it
yeah. I was
all
sightseeing
through
with
the
my mom.
photos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you, what forms of exercise do you get up to? Like, what types of
Um,
exercises do you do?
at the moment, during all this lockdown and everything, I mainly do at-home workouts, as well as we have a bike, so I do a lot of indoor cycling because you can't really go outside at the moment; it's a bit too cold.
How did you get into exercise? How long have you been exercising for?
So actually, I started, I think, properly exercising. So when I was little, obviously you do all the PE, you do football, basketball, everything that in primary school you do. But then when I got to year 10, I started rowing. So
Rowing,
I
okay.
started training 6 days a week, like proper training. So that's when I got into exercise properly.
Were you
So
competing?
from where? Say again?
Were you competing, or was it just sort of
Yeah,
for
yeah, I was competing
competing?
a
Okay.
lot. So there was races and everything. So you had to train, eat right, all that jazz. Got the coaches and everything. So
Yeah,
yeah, it
I know
was
a few. I
tough.
know a few people who row, but I've never really rowed myself. So that would actually something I should look into. I don't really know. It's mostly your legs, isn't it?
Yeah, mostly legs. Lots of people, every time you say, "Oh, I'm a rower," everyone's like, "Oh, you must have really strong arms." I think
Yeah,
not quite.
unless you're really bad.
Yeah, exactly. Unless you're bad.
What does exercise do for you? Like, as like who you are, like what is it? How is it a part of your life? What does it do for you mentally?
So for me, it is 100% just a release. It's somewhere whenever you're feeling anxious or stressed or just in general day-to-day life, you want a distraction, you go to exercise and that is what you concentrate on. Your mind just concentrates on that. And then afterwards, the endorphins, or during even, the endorphins, that feeling, you can, there's not really a feeling like it, I find. I find if I haven't exercised in a day, I feel very anxious, very like something's missing. I'm always on edge. But when I
Yeah.
exercise, it's sort of like a release, I would
Yeah,
say, for
it's
me.
like for me, it takes away like the brain fog. Like you're
Yeah,
going about your day and
exactly.
you're thinking about all
Wonderful.
these things about in your life, and then when you exercise, you're very narrow minded and you just focused on that specific thing. And then obviously
Yeah.
physically exerting yourself is very good for your whole health of your whole entire body and everything. So those endorphins and the hormones and everything.
So good. It's just like the best feeling.
Yeah, it's very rewarding. It's amazing. Yeah, I love it so much. So, do you have any specific goals that you're working towards at the moment, or is it just for the mental health side of it?
So it used to be a lot for girls because as a rower, I had to build certain muscles, get to certain, like lifting certain weights, getting certain scores on the rowing machine, getting certain results in racing on the
Yeah,
water. Um, and that was a lot on my mind as well. So although the exercise was a release, I feel like when you're competing that much, it's a lot to think about. So recently, when I've stopped rowing, now I exercise for the the mental
the mental side.
effect.
Yeah,
Exactly. Which I find is it's a really weird. It's really hard to adjust because when you go from competing, you always want to exert yourself to the maximum, like until you're feeling sick, but to change, I've really enjoyed this change. At first, it was really difficult, But now learning to exercise for my mental health rather than just to get the results,
Yeah.
and have the results as a secondary positive, is I find so much nicer and so much easier.
So you basically changed your reason why you were actually
Yeah.
exercising in the first place. So your whole focus shifted.
Yeah, exactly. It was a weird shift, but I think at the moment I'm very happy with the way it is.
I think it's an important shift because, like, if it's the most rewarding, I think, if you're doing it for yourself and your own mental health, and it's also more long term. Because let's say
Exactly.
you are only exercising for the physical result, and you are only doing it for maybe rowing, and let's say something
Yeah,
happened to you that you couldn't do rowing anymore, then all of a sudden your big reason why you were exercising falls away. You know.
exactly.
So I think,
Exactly.
yeah, that's very, very true. So thank you. So I want to ask you, if people want to find you, how do they find you?
They can find me on Instagram. I'm at Emily_Cossey, so my name with an underscore in between.
How do you spell
And
that? Let them know, because you are on Zoom with your brother's demand
yeah,
name.
name. Yeah, I had to use my brother's Zoom because can't get it on my phone for some reason. It's EMILY_COSSEY.
Fantastic.